everyone, and welcome to this week's show. I'm Dave St.Lawrence.
And I'm Dave Repay, and on today's show, we're going to be fall fishing. We're going to be using big bait for big fish.
As a matter of fact, more trophy fish have been caught during the full moon phase in October than any other time of the year.
So folks, stick around. We're going to try to put some nice fish in the boat for you.
We'll be right back.
Got some good humps and bumps there. Good idea to throw it out there. I'll just continue that way, see how far out we get before it starts to do the drop.
When we talk about fishing structure, we're talking about underwater humps and bumps and little drop-offs. A lot of times you're going to have the fish relating to the drop-off. They're going to be up on the shelf feeding. They're going to have deep water access so they feel safe. And at this time of the year, David, you know yourself, the fish are going to be deep.
Yeah, right now we're at 38 feet. You can catch them up to 40, 45 feet. It's just starting to come down real good here right now. So
I mean, what's the rule of thumb? Springtime you fish shallow, summer you fish deep, fall you fish deeper yet.
Deeper yet.
We'll talk about thermocline a little later in the show, but
yeah,
we've already had turnover. And you can find fish as shallow as 4 feet one day and 40 feet the next, because they're free to roam throughout the whole body of water.
And I think it's going to start to level out here.
There's fish right on top of that little feeding shelf right there.
Yeah. It's probably going to start to drop off again. And then we go down to 39, 41.
And what we're doing, we've got some markers, and we'll mark the edge of the drop off. Move to the other side. When it starts to drop off again, we'll throw another marker on, and then we can work back and forth up on top of that feeding shelf. See fish right down in the pocket there.
Right down in the pockets.
Yeah.
Exactly where you expect to see them.
Exactly. And a lot of people can't believe you catch fish in 40 to 50 feet of water. Walleyes.
Not uncommon. Nicer fish are down there.
Oh, exactly.
Okay, we're at 20 feet here right now, Dave. Looks like nice structure.
Yeah.
I'm going to zip up to...
drop back off again.
Exactly. I'm going to drop off to probably about the 40-foot mark. We've got the waves blowing this way. Okay. We're going to try a very slow presentation today using big bait. And we're going to see if we can't drift into them and pick something up. Once we figure out what depth they're at, maybe it'll be 27 feet or whatever, then we'll go and see how many we can pick up. So we're going to start it right from about here. We're in 37 feet. Okay.
Welcome back, folks. We're fishing, fall fishing for walleye, and we're fishing mid-October. As you can see, we're dressed for it. It's pretty cool out here. 53 feet of water. Dave just picked up a walleye.
Actually, we drifted into 64.2.
Wow.
So that's a deep walleye. He's probably going to come up. There he is.
Nice fish. We're fishing with 3/4 ounce jigs. I'll tell you, you can't find a 3/4 ounce jig in a tackle store. We had to order these special.
Yeah.
On the stinger.
Well, that's a nice pan size, though.
Nice little walleye.
Yeah. Come up from the deep, though, eh? Really?
Yeah.
53 feet, go figure.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, here we're thinking 20 feet was going to be the range, and ends up 53 feet. We figured, well, we'll bounce around. Who knows? Maybe pick up a lake trout or something,
yep.
or a larger walleye. But
yep.
I'll tell you, still a nice fish, though, isn't he?
Really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Using 10-pound fire line, 4-pound diameter, very thin diameter line, and when you team that up with 3/4 ounce jig, I'll tell you, you can feel the bottom so well. You want to make sure that you feel contact with the bottom at all times, because that's down the walleye strike zone. There's a tap, David.
A tap.
Oh, there's a fish.
There we go.
How deep are we?
We're in, I'm going to have to say an honest 60 feet.
Wow. Unbelievable, folks.
60 feet, and we are showing fish between 40 and the 50-foot mark.
Fishing that deep for walleye.
I'm just going to leave my rod in for now, okay,
around
Davey?
your line there, kid.
Okay. There we go.
Just swim around.
One of the problems of keeping your line in.
Oh, nice little walleye. Boy. He slammed that one. Nice little fish. There he goes.
So I guess when they see a lunker like that coming, Davey, they're thinking, oh boy,
Well,
you know, finish out that one and I'm done.
I'll tell you one thing about fall fishing. You want to use the biggest bait that you can buy because they want a meal, not a morsel. At this time of the year, they're trying to eat as much as they possibly can before winter. And I'll tell you something. We picked up the biggest bait that we could get today. Take a look at the size of these minnows.
Let's get it away.
Now that is big bait. Team that up with a stinger hook. You're going to get the short striking fish should they decide to strike short. But that is a nice big minnow. It's a big hunk of meat and they're going to go after it. Like I say, they're trying to bulk up for the winter time. So
Actually,
Davey,
that's a good point on the stinger hook too. The one that I just had, that was caught on the stinger. Using big bait like that, well, I'll tell you, it's almost a must.
yeah, exactly.
You know, you get a short hit on a big minnow like that and you'll regret it. Listen, you're going to miss a lot of fish doing that.
Well, I'll tell you,
Fall
fishing, you cannot beat fall fishing. There are no bugs. You're not going to get a sunburn. We are the only boat out in the lake here today, and the fish are on the feed big time, aren't they?
Oh, definitely.
They really are.
Definitely.
It seems like September the 15th, when small game starts, everybody puts their fishing rods away and they pick up their hunting rifles and they forget about fishing. And this is the best time of the year for big fish.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And look at the depths that we're fishing at too.
Exactly.
You believe that, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, then you got the turnover that's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the temperature is consistent all the way from the top to the bottom. And you could probably find them in shallow also, but hey, we're picking them up in 59 feet.
Well, a lot of people hear about turnover, and you may not know what turnover is. What happens in the summertime, you've got 3 layers of water. You've got an upper layer of water that's very rich in oxygen, very warm compared to the rest of the lake, and you have most of the bait fish in the upper level. You've got a very thin layer called a thermocline, and in that layer, the water temperature changes the very quickest. Then underneath the thermocline, there's a layer of water that's colder, and there's very little oxygen, so the walleye cannot go below the thermocline to feed in the deeper area of the lake. In the fall time, what happens, the air starts to cool the water down. The water starts to sink, actually, into the thermocline, and all of a sudden it reaches the same temperature as the thermocline. Something called turnover happens, and the lake turns over, and all of a sudden you have the same temperature throughout the lake. The oxygen content is the same throughout the lake, and now the walleye can roam from, like I said earlier, from 4 feet down to 40 feet, even deeper.
Oh, for sure.
That makes for some tough fishing because you have to try and find them. You've got to prospect.
Very tough fishing. Then you also have to look at your line size that you're using. You want to get down as quick as you can. Thinner diameter would be the better, actually. You couple that with a heavy jig head and away you go. You get it down to the bottom and you want to feel that thump thump on the bottom. You want to stay in contact with it.
Exactly. We're using 6 foot long rods, graphite, very sensitive, and we're using the fire line, which with the big jigs, I'll tell you, David, with that no line stretch with that fire line, you can feel that jig bouncing along, transition, going from sand to cobble, from cobble to rock. You feel everything. You can actually feel the jigs going up over top of rock and slipping down the back side of it.
That's right. Even you can feel some weeds down there the odd time too.
Exactly.
You feel it pulling through, and then you go from that to your other transition. You can feel the bumping going on. And boy, when you hear the bumping or feel that bumping going on, it's like, okay, get ready to set the hook.
Tell you, Dave, that 3/4 ounce jig, you can just feel it bouncing right on top of those rocks down there.
Yeah, a lot of snakes down there.
I'll tell you, fishing that deep, you've got to get down there with the bigger jigs. There's a tap right there.
Lots of snakes, but that's where the fish. Oh, there you go.
There's a fish. You know, we're lucky on a day like today where there's not much chop on the water. Sometimes you have to go as heavy as 1 ounce to get down to the bottom. That's a good little bend in the rod there, Davey.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot much like the day like today for boat control. It's just wonderful.
Yeah.
Sure takes some of the pressure off.
Exactly. Oh, nice head shake here, guys.
Think you need a net on that one, Dave? Or?
It's a good little thumper.
Okay.
Davey.
I'll even do you a favor and extend it out for you. Whoop.
You know, fall fishing, we've got a little bit of rain falling right now. You've got to be prepared. Always make sure you dress properly. dress in layers. It's always easier to take something off that you have, right, David, instead of...
Oh, exactly.
One,
Exactly. I'd much...
nice. It's a lake trout.
That's a lake trout.
Look at this. There we go. Well, I'll tell you folks, you know you're fishing deep for walleye when you pull a lake trout in.
Full of surprises.
Wet my hand here.
Here, I'll just drop the seat down and lay them out there for you. Oh, that's a nice picture.
Now that's a bonus.
That's a double bonus.
You going for walleye?
Yeah. He just slammed that one too, didn't he?
Oh boy, he hit. Okay, guy. Hook just on the roof of the mouth. There he is. Look at the size of that bait.
Yeah, and he took it.
He did. Now there's a nice lake trout.
Mm-hmm.
Decent fish. Oh, that water is so cold. What a beautiful fish. She'll let you know when she's ready. Always make sure when you're going to release a fish, never move it backwards in the water, because you can actually drown it by forcing the water backwards through its gills. Just side to side. When she's ready, you're going to feel that tail go. She's ready now. Well, David, nice fish.
Excellent fish.
I'm happy.
Excellent fish.
Like I say, though, you know that you are fishing deep for walleye when you pick up a lake trout. But this time of the year, gotta be deep.
Hey, Davey, I got a hit on this. There's something on there. He just took a small run. Hopefully I'll just pull up.
Feel some weight, huh?
Yeah, pick some weight up. As soon as I feel steady pressure, there he is.
There he is.
There he is. There he's on.
Got him? Getting the boat here for you.
That was in...
You need the net there, Davey?
Whoa. It's possible.
Yeah, okay.
I'll tell you, if it's a walleye, definitely. I want to see it turn to the left because 90% of the time when I catch a larger walleye, it'll go to the left. This one seems to be running like a pike.
It is. Nice northern. Nice northern. On the stinger. Look at that. You got a 6-pound test line stinger hook on there, Davey.
Yeah. Yeah, we were tying those up the other night. Those are homemade also.
Yeah, I'll tell you. You had him hooked right because he would have just bit that right off.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a nice northern.
Yeah, just try to get him there.
Well, fall fishing, fellas.
Just gonna drop my rod there, okay?
Yeah.
Try to grab him under here somehow. Oop, oop. They're slippery.
Tell you what.
Oh, there we
Get
go.
you off.
Yep. That's okay.
Here, let me get this out of the way for you.
Well, there's one that's gonna take the hook. I'll have to tie another stinger on. That's all.
Yeah. To the side of his stomach. Tell you how they're feeding in the fall time.
Just like a fat little pig. Okay. This one won't take long to go. Just hold her there for a while.
You knew right away that he was a pike, didn't you? The way he was hitting.
There he goes, and didn't even splash me in the face for a change.
You know what? You're going to put another stinger on here. Why don't
Yeah.
you show the folks at home how you put a stinger on and where you hook it in the minnow?
Sure. Okay, today we're using 3/4 ounce jig heads with big bait. Along with big bait, it's a must to have a stinger hook. Short hits on big bait, you're going to miss a lot of fish. I'm just going to take a minute here now to show you exactly how these get rigged up. As a matter of fact, these ones we made up last night, just out of 6-pound test line, a small treble hook, and a slip knot. We're going to take the slip knot and we're going to put it over top of the hook. And what we'll do from there is we'll actually cinch the knot up onto the hook. That leaves a trailer with the treble behind it. This will get attached to the actual tail of the minnow itself. So with that in place, well, thanks, Davey. We'll take the minnow, put it through the lips. I like to keep it as lively as possible. I like to grab the minnow also while I'm there. Take the treble part, one part of the treble hook, and insert it into the tail of the minnow. Just like that. Leave the other 2 barbs exposed if you can. If you can't, don't worry about it, because if they do bite, the flesh is soft, their bite will actually penetrate through and you'll end up hooking them.
Here comes the rain, Davey. We got a fish on there, man.
Hey?
You got a fish on there.
Yeah, we're just backing up. Just backing up to go out to a little deeper territory. There he is.
Mr. Northern.
Another
Look at that,
northern.
David. On the stinger again here. I'll get the net for you.
Stinger again. Whoa. Well, folks,
He bit the stinger
he
off.
bit the stinger off.
He did.
Yeah,
Well, 6-pound test line, right?
yeah. But I was fortunate enough to even have him on there with the stinger, let alone the jig head.
We've been emphasizing throughout this show how very important it is to use big bait in the fall time, because big fish like big bait. Sometimes at this time of the year, bait dealers do not have any large minnows. All they have are mediums. Now I've got a little trick for you to bulk up your presentation, to fool the fish into thinking that there's a big minnow on your hook. What I do, get a piece of rubber. In this instance, it's a Berkeley power worm. Now that is too big for me to use. What I'll do is take the worm, break it in half. I'll save that to keep the minnows on, the hooks later on, break a little piece off of there. I'll take it, thread it on the barb of the hook, snug it in place, and get a smaller minnow. And hook the minnow. I also like using a piece of rubber like that to keep the minnow in place. Now, you've bulked up your presentation. Looks like a big minnow when it's going through the water. Remember, big fish like big bait. As my good friend Larry Kelly used to say, go big or go home, especially in the fall time. This feels like a good fish here.
I just put my rod down.
Tell you, this time of year, you never know what it's going to be, right?
That's right.
Oh, it looks like just a lake trout.
So far today we've got, well, lake trout, walleye, pike, pickerel.
This is a nice fish.
A little smorgasbord.
Tell you, jig fishing at this time of the year, you can catch all species of fish.
That's nice liquor, Davey.
Trout. Look at him burping. No, he doesn't.
Well,
like
then
that
I'll
net.
let you take him to me.
Yeah.
I won't spook him with the net.
Tell you, how important is it to be a good net guy, right?
Well, they get the blame for everything. So.
They sure do, don't they? Nice lake trout.
If you work as a team together and you don't spook the fish,
There
you
you
just
go.
scoop them up quite easily.
I knew right away when he hit that was a good fish.
There we are.
Well, I sure like this yellow today.
Yeah.
Or the white, rather. The white jig. You know that? He missed his mouth. His hook just beside of his mouth.
Oh, boy, that was a good one.
No kidding.
Yeah, right. There we go.
There you go.
I'll take that for you.
I'll tell you, folks. Very, very healthy lake trout. Nice fish.
Nice eater in anybody's books.
Oh, I guess so.
The thing about this lake too is if you open them up, they're not all full of fat.
Mhm.
They're real good tasting.
The red meat.
Yep. You betcha.
What a nice fish. How deep were we, David?
That was in about 35 feet. We just come through an area that was about 21, then it came up, and then it dropped back down again. So you must have caught them maybe just on the hump.
Right.
You know, where they should be.
Right. I'll tell you, we talk about jigging. The mood of the fish is going to dictate the type of action that you have on the bottom. A lot of times, if the fish are aggressive, and they are in the feed right now in the fall time, a lot of times you can get away with a 1 foot lift and drop.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of times, maybe if the walleye are really dormant, they're not really aggressive, you almost have to sit that jig right on bottom. I guess when you come out, it just depends on what the fish
Just depends what they're doing. You know, I usually ask my partner if I'm out fishing, I'll say, okay, were you right on bottom? Were you jigging it off the top a bit?
Mm-hmm.
And try to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that way you work as a team. And if you work as a team, you put more fish in the boat.
Well, that's right. That's right.
Although there is some competitiveness in some of the boats I've been in.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, it's working today.
Yeah.
Nice fish.
Well, the rain's let up, which is kind of nice. And we were talking about earlier about clothing. And actually, what I'm wearing is I've got 100 below Slorels on. I've got 2-piece long underwear. I've got a 1-piece fleece long underwear. I've got my Mustang floater jacket. Plus I've got the Ice Rider floating pants. Also running some on front here is neoprene gloves. They're always good to have too. They keep your hands nice and warm. So when you do go out, it's advisable to dress to the hilt. Because you can always dress down after. There's no problem with that. But if you're cold, you're cold. Also, another good idea is those hot pocket packages that you can buy. You can just open them up, shake them up a little bit. You can use them in your boots or in your gloves. And I think they're a real good idea to have on board. I've got some in my tackle box, and haven't had to use them today. But
You're lucky.
You really.
I'll tell you though, it does make a difference between an enjoyable trip
Oh,
and a miserable one. If you get cold, then that's going to put a damper on it.
Oh, definitely. And sometimes you're out with a fishing buddy, and he could be real cold, and you're not, because you're dressed properly, and he's the one that's going to want to go home.
That's right.
And I know the people I fish with, the last thing we want to do is head it back to shore and call it a day. So,
especially when you're slamming fish.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So, very advisable. We're mid-October here right now. It's I don't know. I figure it's about 5 degrees. You figure that? A little cooler with the rain.
Well, there's ice on some of the ponds.
On the way up
here.
Yeah, definitely. So dress warm, and you'll have an enjoyable time of fall fishing.
Well, David, it's time to close another show. We've run out of time, and from the look of things, we've run out of light as well.
Now, we have about an hour, and then we have to head her. It's always hard to get off the lake when me and you are out fishing.
He's a die-hard fisherman, believe me. We did catch some nice fish on today's show.
Quite a variety. There was northern, there was lake trout, walleye, all nice sized fish.
Hopefully some of the techniques we've shown you on today's show are going to help you put some fish in the boat the next time you're out in the water. Thanks for watching this week's show.
Today's show, we're going to try to put some big fish in the boat. We're going to be using big bait to catch the big fish. No. Do.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's show. I'm Dave St.Lawrence.
And I'm Dave Repay, and on today's show, we're going to be doing some fall fishing. It's mid-October. We're going to try to put some big fish in the boat today.
And we're using big bait. We're going to say that. We're using big bait to put some big fish in. We're going after big fish, we're using big bait.
Right.
That's